There are some motorsports matchups that just make sense. Formula cars at Spa, sports cars at Road America, club racing cars at Lime Rock. In the stock car racing world, there's a handful of these combinations, including the Virginia Paperclip and the NASCAR trucks. Tonight, the area CNC Logging Truck Series playoffs head to Martinsville to beat and bang in a new round of eliminations, where the final 8 vie for 4 championship spots. Hi, everybody. Kyle Heyer, joined by Finney and DeCuna for the third round of 5 in the CNC Logging Truck Series playoffs. Finney, welcome aboard. Martinsville, the Paperclip in Virginia. This is a fun one. Lots of contact and spins and drama coming tonight, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely expect some great action. This track has been open to stock car racing for more than half a century, and for good reason, because it always puts on a fantastic show. It never fails to disappoint, to make things interesting, especially in the later parts of the season. We've seen so much championship drama at Martinsville over the years. I think Matt Kenseth, Joey Logano, and even last night too, we saw things get really crazy in the Cup Series. I think we may see something fairly similar come through in the Truck Series. Certainly,
I'm really excited for tonight's event. Having a look here at the track information for Martinsville Speedway here in Ridgeway, Virginia. Population 775. The track was constructed back in 1947 and is one of the only tracks that's been on the NASCAR schedule since the inception of the sport back in the late 1940s. So it's been around for a while in various configurations in terms of surface material, but now it's a combination of asphalt and concrete, and it puts on a heck of a challenge. Here's a look at the weather for tonight's race. 77 in the air, 118 though on the racetrack. Last night in the Area Elite Entertainment Cup Series at the Next Gen Cars, the setup was extremely challenging. I'm not sure that's going to be the factor tonight. I think bumping and banging from competitors going for all of what they can get is going to be the biggest challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a matter, really, I think, for most of these drivers tonight, it's a matter of keeping those bumpers clean. Don't want to try to damage yourself too much. And for the most part, when you hit each other at here with relatively low speed, a lot of the time it's cosmetic. But if you're hitting each other on the wheels and hitting the walls off the corners, very easily damage your suspension, damage the drive of your car, and you don't want to do that.
So one of the drivers that was eliminated last time out, last week at the Roval, was Cameron Hearn. He ended up 9th in the championship standings, and that will bump him out. That was thanks to a 24th place finish, so he is done for the playoffs this season. One driver who is not, though, is this man right here, Vlad. It's like Vlad, the Russian. Brad Slaughter Jr. is running 5th right now in practice. He is your points leader coming into the night here, Finian, and here is a look at your points picture coming into the night. Slaughter, Hartz, Fambro, and Swerve and Irvin all above that cut line. Shane Wolfe, Hallman, Beckner, and Sogak, the ones below the cut line coming into Martinsville.
Yeah, I mean, it was really close. It really couldn't get across all 3 series going into the first round of eliminations last week at the Charlotte Roval. So just coming on through, and you can already see the points still very close. Irvin, Shane Wolfe, Hallman, Fambro as well, you can also throw in, all on the cusp. And this is where you can make up quite a few points if you keep your truck nice and tidy, nice and clean, or you can lose a lot of points if you start to ruffle some feathers.
Justin Sogak just avoided a collision in turn number 1 there in practice, but currently 8th in the standings. He's a little ways back from the cut line, so he's got work to do tonight. One of the drivers that was kind of at the heart of the dramas last night, late in the race, was Shane Wolfe in the Area Elite Entertainment Cup Series. The driver that he had some issues with is not running tonight, so that should make things a little bit easier for him. One of the drivers that ran very, very well last night was the number 3 of Ryan Hartz, and we documented that he comes into the night 2nd in the standings, a little ways back from Brad Slaughter Jr., but he's pretty safe. As long as he doesn't walk out of here with a wrecked race car and a poor finish, he should be just fine in that number 3.
Yeah, that's going to really be the key thing, right? A lot can happen in 180 laps. Things can go crazy. Things can go very smoothly. Really won't know until the green flag drops. Looking at Colin Fambro and his GoPro Toyota Tundra.
GoPro. That was like a Home Depot ad there, I think. Rolling through turn number 4. He's got the green coloration there on the timing and scoring. Remember that the drivers in the lighter green color, the richer, more saturated green, those are your playoff competitors. There are 8 of them remaining, and they're all vying for 4 spots after next week's race, which next week we will head to the penultimate round of the season at Michigan International Speedway. I'm really excited for that one, Finian, because Michigan always puts on a show with the trucks. A lot of drafting, a lot of high speed, and a very little off-throttle time.
Yeah, we'll see how it's going to play out. Again, with these last few races, every single point's going to count. And we have 3 races at the end of the season, and then obviously the 2 races till we start eliminating a second set of 4 drivers. So these guys really can't afford any more mistakes for the rest of from here on out, because it could easily lead to elimination. You don't want to put yourself in a hole you can't crawl out of.
Certainly not. And again, tonight's race will be 180 laps. Not a short one, not a very long one. We had last night's race run about 2.5 hours from start to finish with about 18 yellow flags. That might have been a little bit more than that. I actually don't remember the exact number, but it was plenty of them. And again, a lot of those incidents were not multi-car accidents. They were just single-car spins. So I wonder if we'll see a little bit less of that tonight and a little bit more bumper on bumper, door on door.
Yeah, I remember hearing a few grumbles and complaints of the way the cars were driving last night. I don't know if the admins did anything to fix the setup or if they made sure anything was different with the trucks. So we'll see. Really, again, it's going to be a matter of when the green flag drops. If these guys feel a little bit more stable, it was a big wreck off of turn 4, or if they're going to feel like their trucks are a little bit loose as they were last night. Wow, we went flying over.
Ryan Swan went for a loop. We saw a car flip at Pocono last week. How about a truck at Martinsville? Bam. Wham Bam, thank you, ma'am. And went for quite the launch here with impact from, I think that was the 18 truck of Danny Ware. Sent the one for a tumble there in practice. Good thing they got that out of their system before the 180-lap race tonight. Travis Beckner in the 28, making laps, currently second here in practice. And Hunter Collier, the number 98, he missed out on the playoffs as well and is now just running for race wins. And as I said last night, in the Area Elite Entertainment Cup Series, I think there's some relief to be had. If you were at the tail end of the running in the playoffs and you kind of get eliminated, then you can just kind of refocus your energy. You're not worried about points racing anymore. There's no more stress. You can just focus on winning races. That opens up your strategy opportunities as well. So I think for Hunter and a couple others that got eliminated, I think they might be a little bit more relieved to be in this spot than battling for positions.
Yeah, I really think it comes down to how you want to view it, right? Yeah, like you said, it could be either viewed as a blessing or as a curse, depending on how you want to look at things. You want to look at things a little bit more optimistically. But yeah, like the fact that you don't have to worry about needing to do well every single race. You can just focus on just doing your best, trying to see if you can get those wins. You can go for those crazy out-of-the-box strategies that you think you can get a win, because, if you don't get the win, it doesn't really matter at this point in the season.
Hunter Collier comes out of turn number 4 and across the line here. We begin another practice lap. About 2 minutes left here in practice. We got 24 trucks. There's a slide in turn 1. That was something we saw a lot yesterday, and I think the marbles have something to do with it. I have a feeling that up the racetrack here, you can see all the marbles collecting on the bottom or the top of the racetrack here, basically from where the asphalt starts up. And that was a real challenge. I think these marbles have a lot bigger of an effect than drivers have realized on other racetracks and configurations here. Without a lot of banking to catch you, you get up on the top of those marbles, you can find yourself turned around pretty quick.
Yeah, I think definitely the key thing is going to be to stay out of that as much as possible. And I mean, you would think you should be able to stay out of the marbles because there's a very solid 2 lanes of racing on the concrete. But when you see guys get 3 wide and maybe you see like a punt for position, a dive for position, you can see guys getting shoved up there. And if not careful, you could easily spin out when you get so much of those marbles collected up there.
A little surprised by Colin Fambro. His practice times have not been incredibly competitive, only running 13th at the moment. And if you look on the timing and scoring geeks, that's pretty far down the list in terms of our playoff competitors, and that's got to be at least a little bit of a concern.
Yeah, just a little bit. We'll have to keep an eye and see if he can do any better. Again, it really does come down to the race. Maybe just kind of practicing more and just getting solid, consistent laps in rather than just hot laps. But I think you are definitely going to want to qualify well here because while passing isn't hard per se, it's definitely going to take you all to get up there. And especially if this race goes green, the race can go by in a flash.
So practice almost complete here. We'll be heading into qualifying in just a moment. Again, the race is 180 laps. We talk about the survival process. Last night, one of the big differences, at least on the iRacing side from tonight, is that they had the new damage model, which tends to be pretty forgiving in terms of contact in a lot of ways. I don't think your body damage is going to matter a lot tonight, but damaging steering, I think, is a little easier on the old damage model. And I'm curious to see if we'll have some more attrition tonight just because of that.
I think there's definitely a solid chance we can have to see again what these guys are going to do out here. If they're going to play a little bit nicer, maybe they got the wrecking out last night. At least the guys that participated in the race last night, or if they're still going to be aggressive going into the truck race.
Well, you know what they say about being aggressive.
Aggressive goes around.
Aggressive goes around. So we don't want that to be a problem. All right, so qualifying beginning here from Martinsville, and before we get cars on track, we'd like to take this moment to thank the Area iRacing shop. Fans, be sure to check out areiaracing.shop for merchandise to represent your favorite driver. Shop from our selection of t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, and stickers, and more. You can use Stripe for 10% off. The code STRIPE for 10% off. All right, so qualifying is beginning. Cars on track. One of the front runners in practice was this man right here, the number 3 of Ryan Hartz. He begins his first laps here on the bottom of the racetrack. Big slip there in middle of turn 1. He's going to bail out on that lap.
Yeah, and again, qualifying's going to be really quick for these guys because they're doing 20-something second laps. Ooh, and you see Brad Soda Jr. also around. Not sure if he started his first lap. I think he did. So already guys making mistakes. And again, you only get 2 laps. You're already making a mistake. And you're going to have to get back there and make sure you get a really solid second lap in.
Yeah, there's Shane Wolfe who got a lap in. Travis Beckner went to the top of the board. Here comes the 31 at the exit of turn number 4. And Shane Wolfe goes a little quicker, a 19.650. Travis Beckner does not go quicker on his second lap. On Mitchell.
Ryan Hartz coming back across the line to complete his second lap. I mean, 19.6 for him is going to be good enough for second.
So the number 3 goes up to second place. Beckner still on top. Here comes Brad Slaughter Jr. He did start his first lap, didn't get a time. Here comes lap number 2. And up to only 7th. Yeah, that was my thought too, was only 7th for the points leader. That's not exactly what we were hoping for.
Yeah, and again, we were talking about this last week too with the Roval because he has such a big points lead. I think probably has one of the biggest points leads out of out of the entirety of the 3 series. That being said, though, again, you don't want to quite rest on your laurels because you have that points lead. It does give you a leg up because you have a little bit less to worry about in the next couple of rounds. But you can't afford to just throw that all away at a track like this. And 7th isn't bad. It's not good either, though.
Big slide for Colin Fambro. It's only going to be 6th fastest unless he can get another lap in here before the end. Here's Tyler Hallman and the number 42 Ford getting up to speed here. Running high in 3 and 4, and again, into the marbles. Again, I really think there's something to the marbles being extremely sensitive here, Finney. I just see this over and over and over again. We're not going fast enough where you should be getting loose for any kind of aero reason, and the mechanical grip just drops so significantly, and the only way I can tell is that there's marbles there. I think that's what's causing all that slipping and sliding. I don't think running the Talladega qualifying first lap is going to be very helpful in this circumstance.
No, it really isn't, and I think guys should probably start trying to avoid that. Maybe you can run the top, you can run on the concrete, that upper lane there, and cut down low, get a little bit of a better run off. But yeah, like you mentioned, I don't think you really want to be anywhere near the top in the marbles.
Here is Hallman back up to speed again in the number 42, up onto the back straightaway and into turn number 3. 17 drivers have laid down times. Beckner, Hartz, Shane Wolfe, and Hearn still your top 4. And Hearn's got to be kicking himself because look back at the Roval, a 24th place finish, qualifying 4th here tonight. Had he made it through, he would be off to a pretty good start as Hallman goes 15th quick. Matt Cochran in the number 4. Accelerating up onto the back straight for the SherryStrong.org Toyota. Almost said Ford. I'm still getting used to the new nose on this Toyota from the side. It definitely has the look of those Ford headlights. Across the line for the number 4 and only 19th quick on his first lap.
See if lap 2 does anything better. I haven't really seen anyone really attempt the second lap. Usually it's just the one and done. See if we can find any more speed.
Across the line for the number 4. It is a pickup, but only up to 17th. Now Eric Weinland on track in the number 21 Ford. Across the line for the Elite sponsored car, up to 14th place. That was a pretty solid lap, but I think he'd like a little better than that.
Let's see if he can get a little bit better. A little bit loose off of turn 2 as he's getting back on the gas. Even to turn 3, missed the apex a little bit high. Going to try to cut it down low. I don't think the second lap is going to be better, but we'll see as he comes across the line.
Might have also gotten in the fence that time.
That was a little better.
Oh, he did. Didn't get the wall, up to 9th place. Pretty solid lap. Paul Irvin, Swervin' Irvin up to speed here in the blue and highlighter yellow number 9.
This really is a bright, noticeable shade of yellow, isn't it?
It really is.
I don't think it's probably as bright because we're in some cloud cover now, but when you get some sunlight, that thing's going to be glowing.
I just have to laugh that his backwards ally shirt spells yellow, which is the color I think this truck is. Into turn 3 and 4, and Paul Irvin swerving Irvin across the line at his number 9 Toyota Tundra. 20.401. Of course, lap 1 has been a little slower for majority of the field, so we'll see if he'll do better on lap 2, but he's got to be pretty perfect. The turn 3 now slows it down. Stays right up against that inside curb. Doesn't touch it, though. And across the line for Swervin Irvin, a 19.938. That's going to be only good enough for 14th, make that 15th place, rather. And nobody else on track for the moment.
Yeah, it looks like everyone else. Well, Jacob Bell, Adam Cap's actually not in the server. Ed Robinson's the only driver that is here but hasn't elected to qualify.
A look at your manufacturer distribution here. A couple of Chevrolets, a couple Fords on the front rows. Then Toyotas 6th, 7th, 8th, and 10th. So 3 Chevrolets, 3 Fords, and 4 Toyotas. That's about as even as a matchup as you're going to get.
It actually looks like Ed Robinson, he decided to call it qualifying. He just called it a day, so he's not going to put any laps in.
Bobby Tinch in the number 66. We didn't see him leave or make laps, but he did put a couple down. He's 20th right now. So on provisional pole is Travis Beckner. I don't think anyone's going to destabilize that 28 up there. He's been pretty rock solid at a 19.619, 28 thousandths quicker than the number 3 of Ryan Hartz.
Yeah, this is a pretty decent gap compared to everyone else. Is only just a couple thousands up on each other. Shane Wolfe only 3,000 of a second off Hartz for second place, so just lost out of that front row starting spot. But yeah, Brad Slaughter after everyone put their qualifying laps in all the way back in 10th, so he's gonna have a little bit of work to do.
Yeah, and going back to the restarts last night, that was a big discussion. Getting through the first lap after the restart, getting into a rhythm is really crucial at a track like this. And starting 10th on the outside, you're going to go backwards before you go forwards. You might get cut a break early in the race, so if you're going to try to rough somebody up, you're more likely to not be retaliated upon jumping down to the inside early. The later in the race you get, the earlier you're going to get yourself punted after punting somebody else. So I think there's definitely some aggression that you'll see at the beginning just from people on fresh tires and a fresh mindset, but later in the race I think people will take less and less of that. So my suggestion for Brad is to take advantage of everyone's niceness early and get your way up into the front and just hope you can hang on to track position. I don't think we're going to see as many yellows as we saw last night. No other qualifiers.
There were quite a few.
No other qualifiers have taken to the racetrack. So there is your starting lineup for now. Beckner, Hartz, Shane Wolfe, Hearn, and Martin, your top 5. We'll roll through the rest of the starting order when the race goes green. Of course, this race is, the Elwood Designs 180 as we get prepared for our 3rd round of the playoffs. Getting set for a race here at Martinsville. 180 laps should take us just over an hour if all things go well. Could be a little bit longer than that should things turn a little bit yellow towards the end.
Yeah, there's always a chance of that, especially. Oh, sorry.
You're fine. You talk.
I was going to say, there's always a chance of that changing, especially later on the race. You see many times where we have a nice green flag stint where everyone's all kind and friendly to each other. Then you get a caution, then you get 5 other cautions immediately after. And especially if this happens towards the end of the race, we've seen races go from being calm, clean, collected, everyone giving room, to just absolute brawls by the end of it, just because cautions are occurring. Guys are trying to get themselves in good positions because they know the runs are going to be short, and it could very easily devolve into chaos.
It certainly could. And just waiting now for the grid to begin, and we'll kick things off here in just a few moments for the Elwood Designs 180. And again, make sure you tune in on Thursday to twitch.tv/Area iRacing for the Lodgebox Series. The Xfinity cars going racing right here at Martinsville as well. And also make sure that you head to twitch.tv/Area iRacing and follow and subscribe so you don't miss any of the playoff races that are upcoming or the beginning of next season. Make sure twitch.tv/Area iRacing to view more. You're watching Sim TV here tonight. Kyle Heyer and Finny Nakuna alongside you, at least in your ear holes before we kick things off this evening. And again, once we get down to the racetrack here to go green, we're going to have about 23 drivers, maybe 22 drivers going for victory here at the Paperclip tonight. It's seen dirt, it's seen asphalt, it's seen patches of concrete, but over the 6 or 7 decades of operation, it has seen lots of very, very good racing. All right, the Elwood Designs 180 about to get rolling. Let's roll through our starting grid here for tonight's 180-lap event. On row number 1, kicking things off, is going to be Travis Beckner in the number 28. Ryan Hart's the number 3, starts in second, Finian.
And moving on back into third, we got James Shane Wolfe lined up in the 31 truck. Next to him, Cameron Hearn rolling off in the 67 in fourth.
In fifth place, be Jordan Martin in the number 11 and Colin Fambro in the number 54, starting in sixth.
Moving on back to 7, Justin Anasogak going to be rolling off in the 19 truck. Next to him, Danny Ware in the 18 truck in eighth.
Starting in row 5 on the inside, the number 21 of Eric Weinland alongside Brad Slaughter Jr. Points leader coming into the night. He will roll off in 10th.
Back in 11 is going to be AJ Roger, going to be in the 56 truck. Next to him, Garrett Crane going to be rolling off in the 5 truck in 12th place.
Row number 7 inside, Hunter Collier just got eliminated from the playoffs last week at the Roval. He starts 13th alongside Ryan Swan in the number 1 and 14th.
Back in 15, Paul Swerven Irvin going to be rolling off in the 9. Next to him, the 48, Chris Volmer going to be rolling off in 16th.
17th place, Tyler Hallman in the number 42. Sean Mitchell will start alongside him in row 9 in the number 58 truck.
Back in 19th, Matt Cochran going to be rolling off in the 4. In the 66 next to him, Bobby Tinch in 20th place.
And I think our last runners on the racetrack is going to be, well, we got Adam Capps joining, and so does Ed Robertson, so we should expect the rest. Logan Hartman, Jacob Bell, Ed Robertson, and Adam Capps finish off your 24-car field here tonight, Finn.
Yeah, it does look like I think Jacob Bell's not on the service. They'll be down to 23 once we get rolling.
And we are rolling. 2 pace laps around here, 1 mile before we turn them loose. Another quick look at the weather information tonight. Again, track temperature just shy of 120 degrees. It's not cool out there, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's going to lead to these guys. We were talking about how the trucks are going to be handling it with the setup. We also got to think about the weather and it being a little bit on the slippery side of things. That could lead to some chaos for these guys, especially early on, trying to get up to speed.
Yeah, just under 90 miles around here will be our race distance, which doesn't feel like a lot, but that is a lot of laps and a lot of turns and a lot of brake cycles separating drivers from victory tonight. And your points leader will roll off in 10th all the way back there in row number 5 as we get the 1 to green this time through. Next time by, we will kick the Elwood Designs 180 off here from Martinsville. Tense moments here pre-race like this.
Yeah, especially with these guys deciding what they're going to do, if they're going to try, especially the guys on the outside, because they're all going to be trying to get to the inside lane and figuring out where they can get a hole in line. And if not, how they're going to force the way in line.
Roll on to the backstretch into turn 3. The pace truck pulls off. The Elwood Designs 180 from Martinsville, round 3 of 5 into playoffs. Coming to the green this time through. Travis Beckner in the 28. Green flag flies, and we're racing at the paperclip. Whoa, spin, crash turn 3, and it's Irvin in the number 9, turned around. Caught on the digger cam there in turn 3, and immediately back under yellow at the tail end of lap number 1.
Yeah, it didn't take long for something to happen. Curious if he had some help. I see some damage in the rear.
Yep, 58
so
truck.
He did. Oh, yeah.
Turned him around and then hit him again.
Great job of everyone behind. No one else made contact. Actually, a fairly tame incident. I was expecting a lot worse.
Here's a look on board the 58. That's Sean Mitchell that got into the back of the number 9. And right here, just breaks a little bit late in the slightest of touches. I don't think he meant to do that, but it puts us under yellow here early.
Well, I think as we're going to probably see a lot for tonight is whether or not you did it on purpose, I don't think that matters.
We saw last night so much drama after what I thought, again, was fairly tame Martinsville racing. Of course, we know the emotions run high in a championship situation, but we didn't see very many car-to-car incidents, maybe 2 or 3 nose-to-tail impacts, and then maybe 2 or 3 cars spun around. But you would think that people have been running into each other for 200 laps straight with how they reacted at the tail end of that one. So
yeah, there were a lot of very angry people after last night.
Yeah.
Angry is putting it a little on the mild side of things.
How many people do you think leave Martinsville in a good mood?
That is a good point because yeah, I think pretty much no one. Usually pretty much no one. It's a good day. I think someone said this in an interview too. It's a good day when you actually do leave Martinsville in a good mood.
Yeah, and sometimes that's not a win. Sometimes it's just finishing when things get as violent as they can get around here. But very early in this race. Again, if this goes green, I'm doubtful. 58 minutes is all it'll take. That's how little time you have to get to the front. Brad Slaughter Jr. in that one lap that he had, he gained one spot up into 9th, and that's critical because he'll be on the inside for the restart, which we will get in one lap.
And to have these guys roll off again, notably for Shane Wolfe, I think it was it Shane Wolfe? Not Shane, Hearn. Did not get a good run off in the first few turns. We'll see if he can get anything better here once they start going on here in just a little bit.
Pace truck pulls off. We'll try it again. Lap number 6 this time for the restart. Hartz on the outside, Beckner on the inside. Beckner is the race leader, and we're back underway. We're trucking again at Martinsville.
And a poor start for Shane Wolfe that time. Did not get going. Hearn immediately got the jump and secured 3rd place. And Hart's all over the back of Beckner. Trying to the outside, looks back to the inside in turn 3.
Great move for the number 3, but it's not going to be able to take the lead away. Threw the car down in there trying to get the spot, but couldn't quite get up alongside. Here's Brad Slaughter Jr. to the inside of Justin Anasogak in the 19 truck. Actually, yes, he is. And then right in front of him is Jordan Martin and Danny Ware. Big slide for the 18 out of turn 2.
Yeah, you're already going to have to yield and fall in behind. Goes a little bit up the track. I think Slaughter thought about sticking his nose to the inside, but he's still got a good clear of Anasogak.
Eric Weinland behind on the inside.
Oh, Ware sideways in turn 1. He manages to save it, but that could have been disastrous right in front of the points leader.
Oh, it caused a big stack up behind, though. Garrett Grant, nowhere to go. The 19 of Anasogak cut the 18 a whole bunch of brakes there on the exit at turn 2. That was a great save. But just got to get some laps in, get some rubber in the racetrack. It's so slick here early on. And this is an issue we saw last night, was the early laps after a restart were treacherous moments.
Yeah, he got loose under braking into turn 1. I think just got a little bit too hot, panic braked, and then had them lock up. But he went sideways on through, managed to hold it on, and someone else on the server. It was a great save, indeed it was. We'll see if he can carry on or if there's going to be more drama.
67 to Cameron Hearn, back to 4th early. Colin Fambro behind. We talked about him in practice. He didn't really seem like he had a lot of speed. Qualified 6th, though, and he's already up a spot, so maybe those concerns were unfounded. But you see him kind of drifting up a little bit off the inside curb here. The preferred line takes you against the curb on entry.
On the wall.
Ooh, they're a little bit more bouncing. Here, and the 66 spins across the racetrack, and it's going to be a very awkward, slow crash, and triggers the yellow again the 2nd time tonight. That crash took forever to happen.
It really did. Oh, and here come the leaders. Looks like everyone gets going before they can put a lap down.
Enthusiastic yellow flag waving by the flagman here. Here's a look at this 67, 51, and 9. And 51 just gets up on the curb, really aggressive there early and just kind of bouncing back and forth everywhere.
The 66 I think caught the marbles we were talking about all throughout qualifying, and as he was trying to get back up to speed, I think gassed it a little bit too much, and Tinch went around and brought the caution out.
So under caution for the 2nd time tonight. We'll take this moment to thank Elite Entertainment. We'd like to thank Elite Entertainment LLC for their support of the Elite Entertainment Cup Series and all of us here at Area. Be sure to check out Elite Entertainment LLC on Facebook and book them to DJ your next event. Right, so.
I'm just looking at the text chat in the server.
Oh boy.
I don't think I should say it. It's not really PG friendly. It's pretty funny.
Oh, in the iRacing server. I'm watching the YouTube chat.
No, in the iRacing server. Sorry.
And I have to remove bots again.
Oh, well, good thing I told you then. You can get to work on that.
Yep. All right, under caution for the 2nd time tonight. Travis Beckner has led every lap so far. A couple drivers have come down to pit lane. Sean Mitchell, Ed Robertson, Matt Cochran, Ballmer, Tinch, and Hartman have also come to pit lane. So has Paul Irvin. Going back to the damage situation, you can see the damage on the rear bumper of the 9. And without the new damage model, these trucks don't seem to take as much of a hit before they, A, show damage, and B, feel damage.
Yeah, and so you can see as you mentioned, yeah, a pretty solid hit, and I'm curious how much more you can even try to fix out of it. Well, that definitely is a solid hit. Curious how much it is actually perfecting his performance.
Yeah,
like,
probably
we were
not a
saying,
lot, but still a concern.
With the low speeds around here, you can get away with a decent amount. So that's why you end up having half the field, with a huge amount of dents in the front, back, and both sides. And usually they end up still driving okay.
1 to green, lights are off atop the Chevy Silverado pace truck. Or the not Silverado pace truck, I suppose.
Trying to get iRacing a freaking copyright strike.
Yeah, let's do it. So the no penalty for the 66 and 51 incident, a racing incident there. The pace truck pulls off. Let's do it again. Lap 16 this time. Hart's on the outside. Got a good restart last time. Couldn't parlay it to the lead, but he's looking very solid. Beckner on the inside's their leader. Green flag back in the air.
Oh, some hits in the back. Irvin hitting the back of, I believe that is Ryan Swan.
Indeed it was. They came out the other side of it without spinning each other out, though, so that's a positive. For the lead, Ryan Hartz is right on the rear bumper of Travis Beckner.
Yeah, didn't really have any success on the last restart. Let's see if he's a little bit more successful on this one. Over the back, no clear way to go.
Oh, crash behind him. Brad Slaughter, points leader, is turned around.
Yeah, that is not good, and a decent amount of damage to the nose of that truck as well. I think I heard something about him hitting the curb.
Oh boy. 21 car also caught up, and that's Eric Weinland. Oh, that was a little nasty. Let's go back a little further and see how this happened. The 81 and the 21. Door to door entering turn 3 and just really hot, gets the truck loose, and then bam, bends both of them out and gets the inside wall. Not the way that he needed this race to start. He does have a fairly comfortable points lead, but it's still not a place you want to get yourself to a tussle because you've got a long way to go tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, right? Because, he was doing well. He was running 8th at the time of that occurring. So, I mean, you don't want to give points you can easily get, right? Because he clearly has a top 10, maybe even top 5 truck. But now he's just got put himself in a hole, matter of just trying to work his way slowly back to the order. Still got a lot of racing left to go, just over 160 laps. But like I said, don't want to be throwing easy points away, because you never know what's going to happen next week, right? You can have a wreck, and then he's going to be in an even deeper hole and may have a chance of being eliminated.
Vinny, do you happen to know a Muhammad Ibrahim?
Yes. Why?
He gave you $2.
Oh God. Oh, okay. I thought he did something stupid. I was going to apologize.
No. He gave you a $2 tip in the comments. So.
Oh, nice.
There you go. Buy yourself something nice.
He's a firefighter with me in the same company.
There you go. Well, I'm glad you're a firefighter, Finian, because you might need to put out some by the end of the night.
I don't think I have enough water to put out potential flames. Especially last night, that was too much. You need to call in a few more people,
yeah,
a few more engines.
Working lap 20 of 180 on our third caution of the night. We'll keep track down here with the race recap. So far, 3 cautions for 11 of our 20 laps that we've completed. 1 leader, that has been Travis Beckner the whole time. And I feel pretty confident that you could go all the way to the end on 1 tank of fuel based on what we saw last night. So, especially with a lot of yellows. If you go green for big sections, I don't think that'll be possible, but I think it will be easily possible under yellow for a while. Trucks, look how antsy they are to get back rolling right on top of that Silverado pace truck.
Yeah, I was going to say they're going to pit maneuver the pace truck out if they don't back up.
Almost pit maneuvered itself through turn 3. Arts Beckner, again, your front row starters, coming back to the green flag here at Martinsville. Racing again, great launch by the 28 that time through.
Almost too great of a launch. You almost on him spinning himself out. Oh, he's a little bit hot into turn 1, though. Actually, no. He gets a really solid run through, trying to break away from Hartz. Hartz has really not been able to do anything in behind. Shane Wolfe and Hearn side by side for 3rd.
Into turn 3. Been the trouble spot tonight. Big moves down there getting up onto the curbing, but they make it through. Wow, a little of this 19 and 18 door-to-door through turn 1. And Anna Sogak in the 19 truck clears Danny Ware and moves up a spot. Meanwhile, just ahead of them, Gordon Martin gives up a spot to Colin Fambro in that 54.
Yeah, Fambro's been having to fight Martin for most of these restarts, being stuck alongside him, 5th and 6th, so Fambro will win that battle once again.
Nice, tidy, orderly lines for now, right after the restart. Beckner leads Hartz, this time by about a half a truck length. I have to train myself not to say car. Into turn 1. Look at the three's a lot better on the brakes, at least early in the going. We'll see how that works later in the night with worn out Goodyears, but for now, he's a lot better slowing the truck down.
The thing is, though, we've seen a lot of people struggle with getting the truck slow down, so will there be a point in time where we see him get a little bit too antsy and goes flying into him?
A lot of patience required and a lot of accuracy required when you're braking at such a similar point to the driver in front of you. And look at Cameron Hearn starting to put pressure on the 3 car now, and how validating would that be for the 67 to be eliminated from the playoffs, then immediately go back to victory lane? That would prove to everybody and to Cameron that he should have, could have, would have been able to move on.
Yeah, well, like we said, he's in a position now. You can try to put himself, risk it to get this win. Doesn't have to worry about the repercussions if his strategy doesn't work on through and falls down the order. So here to see what he's got in store. He definitely seems like he has the pace, at least on the short run. We'll see, does he have it on the long run, though? And really good. I think the big question is, do all 3 of these have it on the long run as the caution's out? Adam Caps around.
55 truck spins out of turn number 4 and brings out our 4th yellow of the night. This time, all on his own, just goosed it up a little bit too much out of turn 4, and an innocent spin down to the inside, doesn't hit anything, and he'll carry on.
Adam Caps blames the fact that Brad Slaughter was talking to him in behind, and Brad Slaughter's response was all part of the plan.
But Brad Slaughter, with that incident, the previous yellow, he was at fault for that, so that he did get an EOL, and now sits a little bit further down the list.
Yeah, he didn't even need that AOL because he was just stuck on pit lane, just trying to fix that truck back up to a somewhat working order. And I think he's going to take advantage here of quite a few guys coming in down, because he pretty much came in maybe 5-7 laps ago, so he's all good in comparison to some of the other guys out here with fuel and tires.
Yeah, Cameron Hearn comes on down from 3rd. Gordon Martin, well, a few others. Actually, Martin stayed out.
This is always the interesting thing with these short tracks when you have so many cautions, because everyone's wondering, okay, when's that green run, that long green flag run in the middle of the race going to happen?
I think they can feel it.
I guess. Yeah, you get that feeling, you're like, okay, maybe now is around the time, but you never know, right? Because you can't predict what happens. So
a little awkward there between the 19 and the 64, and Sogak and Robertson had to trade positions there. But yeah, I think you're right. You have to guess when that long run's going to happen. I think the drivers can kind of sense that each time we're going back green, we're getting a couple more laps under green. So the 55 listed at fault, obviously, for that most recent incident. So just like the 81, the previous caution, he will start at the tail of the field for the restart.
And still have pretty much everyone in the top 10, save for Sean Mitchell in the 58, have yet to come down for their first stops of the evening. So they have yet to get fresh tires. Again, shouldn't be too big of a deal because we had a decent amount of caution laps interrupting these first 30 laps of racing.
We have had half of our race under yellow. And again, also you can count maybe another quarter of those were warm-up or cool-down laps, restart or coming to the yellow. So maybe really only about 8 or 9 laps that were actually under green. We didn't see last night tires matter much at all. They really didn't seem to help anybody. So I'm wary of getting tires at this point in the race. I think if we go green for 50 or 80 laps, then I would come get them. I would just play the track position game for now until a little bit later. See if it works out, though. Coming to the restart again, Hartz and Beckner, as they have 3 times before, roll back onto the throttle, and the 28's gone again.
Yeah, Beckner's been getting better and better at these restarts, getting away from Hartz. Hartz needs to kind of come up with something, counteract that. Tries to look to the inside. Oh, an orderly caution out. Didn't he notice it came out? Yeah,
immediately back under yellow, and Logan Hartman's got a lot of damage. I wonder if that was from this incident or another.
Irvin. It was Irvin that went around.
And the Marbles just gassed it up.
Oh!
and gets hit from behind. Yeah, this is something that is a little bit surprising to me because we've seen this happen a couple of times. Look how high they are on the racetrack here, Finney. I know they're trying to get a nice, good straight run off, but they're in the marbles. You're not going to be able to accelerate there in that spot.
I think what also didn't help too is that the inside lane was also kind of up in the middle to the top part of that concrete. So they only cut down on the last second, so I think the other guys just kind of stuck up there. Unfortunately, I think they severely underestimated the lack of grip.
Yeah, again, it's just the upper groove there. Really, anything beyond the concrete is just no-go zone tonight, especially on throttle on a restart. So right back under caution, and this is similar again to what we saw last night with the driver on the outside, wasn't able to do much with the leader, and that's when it led to the chaos that we've been kind of alluding to, was on the last restart, or what was going to be the last restart. The driver that had been second all night long managed to move the race leader out of the way with a pretty well-placed push, and then it kind of escalated from there and got pretty messy pretty quick. These train tracks don't look train-friendly, do they?
No, they really don't. I don't know what gauge that is.
Be quite the Amtrak journey there. Throw you out the window.
Yeah, probably going to need to see a chiropractor after a turn like that.
I would say so. A couple cars on pit lane again. Adam Capps is one of them in the 55 truck. And I'd say about 60% of the field has visited pit lane at some point so far. But like I said earlier, I'm all on board the track position game for now.
Yeah, I think you're definitely going to want to keep that track position. But the problem is, right, you have the other guys behind you that have already pit. So when you do end up pitting at some point, you're probably going to be put in behind them if they stay out. And that's kind of the mind game that's going on with these guys, is that they, I want to get tires, but how far back in the field am I going to get put? And so everyone's going to try to be playing that game of when do I come in. We were talking about that in the last caution, when do I come in? But it's also that as well. How far back in the pack am I going to be put when I do come in? And that's where we're saying, maybe track position's good now, but when's the crossover point when you decide to come in? You don't want to be like Ferrari and stay out there forever and make a bad call.
No, you definitely don't want to do that. Get prepared for next restart here tonight at Martinsville for the CNC Logging Truck Series in the Elwood Designs 180. And again, in terms of the championship, Brad Slaughter Jr. giving up a lot of the points that he had. He is back up to 11th, but still
getting advantage.
Yeah, but still is a long ways behind Ryan Hart's the number 3, who's the runner-up in the championship right now.
Yeah, so again, it's a matter of minimizing the damage. The truck doesn't look too bad. He got that repaired pretty decently. Still some damage on the right front. We will see how well he can do.
Doubled up. Lap number 39 coming to the restart here. I thought we'd get some more green flag runs in than last night. So far, that hasn't been the case. Let's give it a go on lap 39. Beckner on Hartz to the restart zone. Here they go. One car way up the racetrack. That's the 18 of Danny Ware in turn 4. The 56 rather, AJ Roderick did a hard left on the front straight to get back to the inside. Good crossover move there.
See if he can stick it down, get it done, get clear to the 18 off of turn 2. Indeed, he does. Ware trying to fight back on his teammate. Can't quite get there.
Oh, the 42. Looked like he was going to send it down there, thought better of it. And then the trio of trucks behind him, the 58, the 81, and the 5, all hunting the 42 now.
Brad's on the inside there. You can see Sean Mitchell duking it out. That's for 9th place. And a bump in behind Cameron Earn.
And Brad Slaughter Jr., after all that, is back to where he started. 41 laps later and with a lot more damage.
Ooh, sideways off of turn 4. Around he goes.
Right in front of the track.
Stop. Nobody knows.
Oh, more hits.
I got hit by the 55. Ooh, got hit again by Irvin.
Washing out again here, lap 42.
This came after some side-to-side contact with the 58 off the corner. You see right there, just got him upset enough, was chasing the car. There was another completely different spin in behind.
Yeah, the 98 got turned. Hunter Collier got turned, none of his own doing here. I think the 51 couldn't really see a lot. He was a long ways back from this. Here's what he saw. Yeah, this is just not looking out the windshield, Finian. He just drove right into that. That was too far back.
Irvin was voicing his displeasure at Hartman.
Yeah, that was too far back. That shouldn't have happened for Hartman. So that's driving, looking at the relative screen and not out the windshield, I think. So that'll damage more trucks than needed to be.
But here comes more guys down to pit lane.
And this time the leaders are coming down. The 3 didn't get into his box very well, so Hartz will likely lose some positions here, but they're all going to lose spots as the 28 and 3 had led every lap so far. 28 out front.
Do we see a potential change? We can see, typically we may see some changes in position. Apparently not, though. 20 gets out very clear of the 3, and everyone else rolling out back onto the track. Fambro, Roderick, and Grant now the only ones to not come in at all this entirety. Sorry, actually, Hunter Collier, you could throw him in there in the 98. All 4 of them get to make their trip down a pit lane.
Yeah, so Fambro, Roderick, and Grant, your top 3 are the only drivers that have not come to pit lane. They are leading this race. I still like this strategy until we see a longer green run, which again, you could go green to the end. I just don't know that that's the statistic I'm going to root for. I think Larry Mack would be predicting a little more yellow tonight. So I think Fambro, Roderick, and Grant have the right strategy here. Stay out lead laps while they're easy. And then if you need to come down to pit lane, do it a little bit later.
I think also being in the front here also has a benefit of just staying out of trouble. That
yeah, totally.
Through in the middle to the back of the field. So if you're in the middle of the back, it's a short track. There's not a whole lot of space around here. You can easily get yourself involved in a multi-car pileup, as we've seen a few times. So it's much easier to stay in the front, try to stay clear of everyone else. When you do have to go back there, just kind of have to do a Hail Mary and an amen, and just kind of hope you make it on through.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, just staying out of trouble. We've seen what being at the back can do tonight, and we haven't really seen, just similar to last night, we haven't seen a lot of incidents up towards the pointy end of the field. It's really been from about 15th on back that the trouble spots have been tonight. Try it again, lap 47. And green flag back in the air this time.
Do a late restart as a good bit of checkups in the back half of the field. Everyone's okay, though.
5 of Garrett Grant on the inside of the 58 of Mitchell, and the 31 is Shane Wolfe right behind him. Shane Wolfe tucks in real tight. Gonna try to get this 58. They're gonna get squeezed. That was really close.
Yeah, Grant squeezing the 58 of Mitchell up into the wall.
The 3 truck around turn 1 spins, and that's a championship competitor.
Oh, and guess who sent him around?
Oh boy. Look. Was that the 28? Ooh, boy. That's not going to be a popular one there from the 3. And then the 28 got back into him, too.
Yeah, and, well, 28 said, I'm sorry. I don't think the 3 cares for apologies.
We knew it was going to happen. It was just a matter of how long. And remember that, I'm not sure we're done yet.
I think they're done for now. For now.
See about that. Take the camera off. Yeah, again, Beckner coming into the night 7th in the standings. He's fighting for a championship the same as the 3 is. The 3 just had a bigger advantage. So, if anything, this is going to hurt the 28 more than it is the 3 of Hearts.
Oh, it's going to hurt even more because that incident, he's going to have to go to the back of the field for the next restart. So, he's going to have to surrender 12th and go back into 23rd. Sorry, 22nd, actually, as we have 22 cars still out there on the track and on the lead lap.
Yeah, to no one's surprise, the 28 ruled at fault for that, so it will hurt even more. And he's got pretty significant front-end damage. You have to wonder about the steering in the number 3. That was a direct hit to the left front. It looks okay, but you can't really take hits like that too many more times before it starts bending things out of shape.
No, you really can't. I think he's going to be hoping that nothing was broken. It does look like, I'm trying to look at the way his wheel is aligned.
Looks okay for now.
Yeah, it does look okay.
I wouldn't trust it to take another hit like that, though. So continuing to run under yellow, race recaps so far. We've had 7 yellows in the first 51 laps. The progress to start has been slow. We've had 2 leaders. Fambro, the most recent. And still the top three have not hit pit lane. Garrett Grant, how close was he to getting turned head on into the wall? That was very, very close, but managed to get the car unstuck and pulled the car to the inside, and we'll live to see another day up front here.
Yeah, that was really dangerous because he was trying to clear himself off the 58. I mean, you obviously want to be aggressive when you make some moves here, but that's pretty much a race-ending move with a move like that, almost going flying into the safer barrier on the outside. That could have ended his race early on. So you want to be really careful of how you position yourself and clear yourself, because as much as it can gain you position, it could throw you into the garage area if you're not careful.
Fambro and Roderick will be your front row starters for the restart. And look at the playoff competitors and how sprinkled they are throughout the field. It's not boding well for drivers like Slaughter, Irvin, Allman, and Hartz.
Yeah, Anasoyak, though, having a pretty solid day in 6th at the moment, so it's exactly the kind of run he needs, being, again, 8th in the point standings, coming in 8 points behind the cutoff. He needs a good night and a good finish to get himself back up with everyone else. Irvin, meanwhile, though, really struggling back in 14th, so he's also going to have to turn his luck around because he's just 1 point above that cutoff line.
Yeah, and we have yet to see if Travis Beckner's truck is going to be impeded by that damage. Again, not so worried about the aero, but worried about mechanical components and oil and all that sort of thing. So we'll see if it affects him as Colin Fambro gets to the inside here. And it's an all Toyota front row, all Ford row number 2. All Toyota row number 3. Here we go. Green flag on lap 54. Tight quarters here. The 5's got some overlap for a minute on the 56. Couldn't keep it, though.
And Shane Wolfe trying to battle the 5 on the outside. Almost seems like he might be successful here. And it looks like the 5 is trying to yield and give him a spot in line, and Shane Wolfe will indeed take 3rd place.
Well done there. The car way up high. Truck in the wall. That was the 11. Everybody scatters. The 18 to the inside. The 67 drops down to the inside wall. And Jordan Martin almost tripped up a 3 or 4 truck group there.
Yeah, it's always a terrifying thing when you see a truck go like that so close to the wall, and then you know you're in behind, and it's very difficult to try to avoid those things. Martin tapped a little bit, almost turned in the background by Danny Ware. Ware makes his way on through. Here comes 67 of Hearn as well, moving his way through traffic.
There's lots of it here. On to the front stretch again. Need to get some laps in to get the tires up to optimal temp and pressure. The 67 to the bottom of the 11. And Paul Irvin again fighting viciously, but his night started off poorly, and I haven't seen it look any better lately.
No, it's one of the things we talk about many times on TV about sometimes in races you're the bat, sometimes you're the ball. Unfortunately for Irvin, he's been the ball quite a few times. I think the only wreck he actually caused, I think, the opening one. Actually, no, he was a victim in that one actually as well, wasn't he?
Yes, he got hit from behind.
Yeah, so he's just been straight up the ball tonight, and this is not the night he needs to be because, again, he's in that cutoff. He's just above that cutoff lane. His other competitors are doing better, and his truck is looking worse for wear.
Yeah, and the driver that sent him around was Sean Mitchell, who's running 6th. So that's got to drive you nuts, knowing that the guy that turned you around backwards is having a better night than you. Look at this, 21 and 58, by the way. Weinland trying to grab the 6th spot away.
Mitchell almost turned into Weinland on the straightaway there. I think trying to pinch him or get him offline, try to disturb his position, but unfortunately Mitchell's going to lose out. Weinland up to 6, caution out. Martin around.
Yeah, he's been struggling since the restart. He was looking all sorts of wild.
So he had some help.
42 truck was behind him, Tyler Hallman. A long ways back. Yeah, that'll look worse from up above, I imagine. Here's another look. I guess the 11 kind of did leave the door open there, but I saw that one coming.
Yeah, and Beckner you saw just work around the outside. He was right in behind that. Good wreck points, and then just narrowly avoided hitting the 42 heads-up driving.
That was a great job by the 28. On board with him now. Just jukes to the right. That was well done. And kept it out of the wall.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a big thing too, right? Because your knee-jerk reaction, you see a wreck, you're going to crank the wheel as hard as you can to the right. Next thing you got to worry about is the wall. You did perfect execution there on getting around. Oh, Adrian Roderick down to the pits. Bambro and Grant still staying out.
Yeah, I'm still on team stay out I will be until we get roughly to the halfway point.
Until the checkered flag.
I mean, honestly, it worked last night for the eventual race winner. It didn't come without some dramas of its own, but again, I'm team keep it out there until you get a green flag run, and then you need to actually replace tires or put fuel in the truck. But for now,
that's a very long team name.
yeah, that won't fit on any graphics, unfortunately. So under caution again, here is the race recap once again at lap 62, 8 cautions. We are right past the 1/3 mark, so we're actually on track to have more yellows than last night.
I was gonna say, I think we're just behind the record. I think we had 200 laps to be more in question, but I don't think we're quite on tap for that.
Yeah, last night, again, most of the incidents were single car. Tonight, mostly multi-truck accidents. We've had a couple single car spins. This is what you'd expect, though.
Yeah.
Martinsville.
Yeah, I still can't believe that looking at those stats when I was doing some stat digging on SimRacer Hub. By the way, shout out to SimRacer Hub, formerly known as Dan Lisa. That site's amazing for stats. It's amazing how easy it is to find stuff. Like I just literally looked up the track records, and you can click on the track, and it shows you every single race that happened at that track, and like it tells you also the stats for every all the cars that are raced there. It's crazy. It's a statistician's dream. I'm sure Larry Mack would love something like that. But yeah, it was 38 cautions. I was only in a 267 lap race, mind you. 38 cautions.
That's basically just going green, yellow, green, yellow, green, yellow the entire night.
Yeah, and I think the race was 3 hours in length, so that was a lot of caution.
So, to be re-racking and restacking here. This time through, looks like we will.
Adam Capps just narrowly getting out of pit lane to stay on the lead lap. So right there, just getting up to speed.
Like the cars scene beating the pace truck.
Unfortunately, unlike cars, I don't think he's going to make it back around in time for the restart.
That movie would have been way funnier to me if they just had the side image of the pit lane exit cam that they always use to show you that you didn't beat the pace car. All right, green flag, lap 66. Let's try it again. Good double stacked restart. The 5 of Garrett Grant to the inside of the 19 of Anna Sogak, who will drop in front of the 5. Oh, big tank slapper. What happened there?
Not sure. 21 though, causing a massive checkup.
Man, I would go back to look at it if I didn't know we would probably have something else kick off from this big pack being all together like this.
Yeah, it looked like the 1 came a little bit off the wall on the straightaway to try to avoid hitting it and came down into 21. He did apologize, and and the response was, "It's okay, we lived."
And a Sogak up to 2nd place. Good climb for him to get back by Shane Wolfe. The 81 moving forward up to 6th place.
Yeah, and Shane Wolfe just kind of put himself out of lane. That's how Anna Sogak was able to get by. I think tried to do a dive on Fambro, wasn't successful. So, as you mentioned, back in the 3rd place, Anna Sogak has a chance at the lead.
Yeah, he's looking pretty solid right now as we work our way up off of turn 2. Well, side by side here, the 3 of Ryan Hartz continuing his climb forward, and he still has the 28 truck right behind him. These two are just inseparable tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he's going to get a little bit cautious of having the 28 back in behind. Especially because he's battling for position as well on the outside. Going to throw it in a little bit hard. Force the truck to rotate. Here comes the 18, though, up the inside, Danny Ware.
Beckner again, that damage doesn't seem to be affecting him too much, so you can assume he's got all the power that he needs.
Whoa! A little squirrely off the corner. Here comes 42 now.
Maybe too much power. I think one of the other things that was contributing to what we saw last night was the shifting that we saw, kind of destabilizing the drivetrain. That's not a factor here. You're going to stay in 4th gear most of the night.
Her and Gray run off the corner to the inside of Brad Slaughter. Slaughter easily going to just give it up.
Yeah, not worth fighting at this stage in the race. Not worth getting wrecked over. Big slide for the 18 in the background, and here's the 42 now on Beckner.
Yeah, he was trying to make a buy, got squirrely in the corner, Beckner making around and just clearing himself with the 42.
Now up front for the lead. Fambro has it, and Asogak wants it, and he is closing that gap with the number 19 truck.
Here's the interesting thing, too, is that technically, again, we were talking about tires maybe or maybe not managing as a slow truck in the background. It's Hunter Collier.
He's got turned.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Goes to the 48, or either that or he spun.
But he didn't really turn. He turned himself, if anything. Somehow that didn't trigger a caution, because that is that's a sideways. I mean, that's pretty much 90 degrees to the track.
Let's call it a win as we go back forward. Fambro and Asogak now battling for the lead here at Martinsville, lap 75.
Yeah, so what I was saying is between these two, we're talking about tires not being a huge thing, but for Asogak, he's got 30 lap fresher tires than Fambro. That's not a whole lot, but I mean, that's got to be worth something because that 19 looking pretty quick.
Yeah, they're 45 lap old tires. We just haven't seen a lot of green flag running. For Fambro, 75 lap old stickers from the start of the race. I think that 19's a little better right now. Look at the turn he gets through the center. Fambro gets a good drive off, though.
Yeah, I think Fambro knows if he just kind of holds up the 19 in the middle of the corner, he can try to just aim in for a better run off. Curious, though, in general, how much he's willing to fight for that lead, knowing that it's got a little bit fresher tires.
Got in the wall there a little bit out of turn 4, did the number 54. 21 and 5 fighting for 4th place. But the lead is getting very close. Here comes the 19. Big dive out to the inside. Not enough overlap, though.
Honestly, I don't know how much of that was a dive or him just getting loose off of turn 2. I think it was a mixture of both. Oh, this was a 4! Oh, boy, he's going to save it.
Wow, okay, now we know he's really loose. He was trying to get everything he could. That was a heck of a save.
Yeah, I honestly thought he was going to loop it back around. Look how much load is on the left side. The right side almost comes off the ground with him just trying to keep it off the wall. Somehow he managed to do it, but back in traffic now at 9th.
Here's the 28, the Beckner, who's losing ground.
Down in front of them.
Oh boy, the 5 into the wall hard at the exit of turn 2, and the 67 rather, of Cameron Hearn is also involved. And both of these trucks were eliminated from the championship last week at the Roval. And I guess that's a good thing because this probably would have been a contributor to that this time through. Here's the 67 and the 5, and the 21 gets down here, has a little bit of the inside, runs up the racetrack, turns the 5, and then the 3 gets a piece of it. And big impacts for both the 5 and the 67. Ooh, the 28 got a piece of that too.
Yeah, just off the right side door. It looked almost like Cameron Hearn, I think, just threw it into the right side wall, I think, just out of frustration.
Not going to help.
Either that or to try to get out of the way.
No, not going to help the 28, though. That will add to the damage. So 100 laps to go. And Fambro finally hits pit lane, and this is the time that I would have come. So Fambro's kind of doing the Kyle Heyer playbook tonight. See if it works out for him. Shane Wolfe will take over the lead in that gorgeous number 31, the Elite Entertainment truck. Very solid indeed.
So if Fambro wins the race, are you going to take credit for it?
Probably. I would say that's a safe bet.
I also find it amazing that he despite the amount of damage and incidents he's been in, the number 5 Garrett Grant has yet to come down pit lane.
You're watching the Elwood Designs 180 from Martinsville. Kyle Heyer and Finny DeCuna from SimTV bringing you the 3rd round of 5 at the playoffs for the Area CNC Logging Truck Series playoffs. And we'd like to take this time to thank CNC Logging for their support of the CNC Logging Truck Series this season in area. Located in Boiling Springs, South Carolina, CNC Logging is your place to go for any of your logging needs. Got wood, big or small, summer or fall, we'll cut your log guaranteed. Working our way towards halfway, just about 10 laps away from the paperclip. And the paperclip has been given paper cuts tonight. A lot of angry folks.
How long have you been waiting to say that?
I just made it up just now, so you can give me credit or you can shame me for it, either however you're feeling.
That sounds like something you've been holding on to for a very long time, waiting
Everything
for
is
a
planned.
chance to say.
Everything. I just heard someone go boom big time.
Yeah, I thought I heard that too.
Is it the 28 truck?
I think so. I see someone slow. 21? Maybe the 21 Air Weinland?
No, I think it's the 28 of Beckner. Just rolled to a stop. Maybe not. Let's have a listen and a look.
Oh, it was Beckner.
Yeah, and that is not what he needed tonight. Again, thinking of the playoff scenarios with Beckner coming to the night 7th in the standings, this is going to, in the words of Vince Welch, the hammering you hear is the nail in the final coffin of the championship for Travis Beckner and the 5 of Garrett Grant going backwards.
I also want to note Cameron Hernan has officially retired.
Yeah, end of the night for him. Not a lot of expectations on the evening given his elimination from the playoffs, but either way, a disappointing night. That's 2 weeks in a row now for Hearn outside of the top 20. I thought my Vince Welch comment was funny. I was sad he didn't laugh at that.
I was trying to figure out what's happening. I honestly didn't hear it, so I apologize.
It said something along the lines of the words of Vince Welch for the 28. That the hammering you hear is the nail in the final coffin for his championship hopes. James Shane Wolfe, the wheel is still and perfect.
We'll see if it's going to be in 100 laps. 100 to go.
I bet you there's going to be no still and perfect wheels for the next 95 laps. Here we go. Green flag back in the air. Shane Wolfe, Slaughter, Hartz, Ware, Hallman, your top 5. Good restart for the 81 of Brad Slaughter Jr. Good recovery on the night, too. Can he hang on the outside?
He's trying. He's trying to do his best. He knows he's got an opportunity. He feels like he's faster than the 31, though the 31's got the preferred lane. Just about to get clear. The 81 finally does. Does Brad Slaughter try to go back to the inside? No, he's going to stay in behind for now.
Doesn't have the momentum to carry. Meanwhile, for third place, though, here comes the 3, battered and bruised. He is up into the top 5 again after the collision and the spin from the 28.
It's at the settle and fall back in line. You know what, Justin? Oh, 56 around AJ Roderick.
Caution out. 56 this time goes backwards hard in the fence. What happened? The outside of the 58 and the 42. Yeah, the 58 gets in the back of the 58's been at fault for something too, right? Yeah, it was the early incident.
Yeah,
with the 9. Was again involved in an incident on lap number 42 with the 67. So the 56, or excuse me, the 58 truck rather has been center of a bunch tonight. Flips the 56 and sends him backwards. That was a hard stop too for Roderick. That thing is.
Curtis Vollmer in the 48 almost just narrowly avoiding that as well.
This truck is looking pretty second-hand here.
I think a lot of trucks out here are looking second-hand. I mean, you already see there's a few guys parked on pit lane. There's a bunch of second-hand trucks there. They're probably going to need new ones.
Yeah, this is looking like a Home Depot rental that's sat outside in the parking lot for a couple winters. A lot of 2x4s. I, for one, wish that we could open up the beds here. I think it'd be cool to have the beds just open, and I think it'd look really cool. It'd make the spoiler like part of the.
What would be really funny, actually, if you were to do that, if you were to have a rain race, you just have a bunch of water.
Bunch of water. I mean, there'd be a drain in there, but you could like put the spoiler like as the.
No, keep the water in there. So anytime they go through a corner, it just throws it off.
It's the anti-jet dryer. The opposite of a jet dryer. It distributes water across the racetrack. I bet you some dirt track somewhere just has an old Silverado 2500 they just fill up with water and let it leak out over everything. I bet you that's a
probably. That sounds way too accurate to not be a thing.
All right, lap 91. You know what that means? It's halfway in the Elwood Designs 180. We are 90 laps in to our 180 lap event. Here's a race recap of our night so far. And looks like we've had 10 cautions for a total of 43 laps of our 91 completed. So still trending around 50% caution flag laps. 3 leaders, 2 lead changes at this stage in the race with 90 laps to go this time by.
Starting to come down to the end of it here. We still got some guys, especially up here, James Shane Wolfe, He's pit 61 laps ago. I have a feeling he may need to come back down again, but I don't know. He might be good in the end.
Again, we've run so much under yellow and so little under green, so little under throttle that I think basically everyone, if they made a pit stop, is going to be totally fine to the end. Would be my guess, unless we have a long green flag run.
That's the thing, though, right? If we do have that long green flag run, I think a lot of guys may be caught off guard.
We will see. Larry Mack's trends of the race don't show me that happening. But the crystal ball of racing is always a little cloudy. Maybe that's just the Chicago weather. Who knows? Turn 3 and 4. Coming back to the green. Lap 93 of 180 in the Elwood Designs. Big stack up on the restart. Good launch for the 31, though, as Shane Wolfe clears Brad Slaughter Jr. into turn 1.
I think was trying to catch him napping. Did a really good job in doing so, getting the 81 stuck in behind.
Oh, spin out of turn 2. This is 21 of Weinland, and big hit on the back straightaway.
Oh,
and a
couple guys involved.
Yeah, that's a big one. 55 trucks also stopped. We stay green for
really?
now. Somehow. Here's a look at what happened.
And the officials sleeping.
Yeah, 48, wow. There must have been some prior issues there. The 64 absolutely walloped the 21, and I didn't even catch the rest of that.
Yeah, that really wasn't close, was it?
No. Bam. Man, just a
Yeah,
huge...
the 48 went so hard into him that he actually ended up hitting the wall. So I am going to feel like that's a bit intentional.
You have to imagine that stage. Brad Slaughter Jr., though, back up to second, and his chase of the race lead. And the 3 of Ryan Hart's trying to negate that advantage. And just behind them, the 42 of Tyler Hallman. Here he is. And he is one of our playoff competitors. There's a 58 truck. Look, that thing is destroyed. Back on the racetrack.
Yeah, he's just trying to limp out there. He actually went through pit lane but didn't pit last time by, so I'm not sure what's going on with the
It's a drive-through penalty for the second at-fault incident. That would be the reason for that.
Thank you.
The Shane Wolfe, Slaughter Jr., Danny Ware, Hartz, and Anna Sogak, your top 5. That 19 truck has kept his nose clean and is doing a great job tonight, Finney. And this is a good points event for him if he can continue to whittle away. He needs to probably do a little bit better than this, but this is a great start.
Oh, never mind. So it was a lap truck. Never mind. I saw someone way out of line. It was the number 4 truck. I thought it was Brad Slaughter for a second. I thought I just completely missed the corner. But as you're saying, man, Anna Sogak, yeah, he's doing a really good job, especially considering we saw him up in second. Made a mistake, got dropped back around 9th or 10th. Now finally back up inside the top 5. I think he has the chance to do something better. I think he may need a little bit of a green flag run to help him, though.
Yeah, I think a lot of drivers could use a green flag run. James Shane Wolfe is one of them, probably, assuming fuel's not an issue. He's beginning to drive away from Brad Slaughter Jr. and has put a couple tenths of a second on the 81 in the last few laps. And Ware in the 18 is also a driver we haven't talked a lot about tonight. Started 8th up to 3rd, and notice there is not a lot of damage, if any, on this 18 truck. He has also kept his nose clean.
You definitely jinxed him for the rest of the night.
Well, whoop.
Oh, right there, that corner.
The racing gods were ready to smite him for that one, huh? Colin Fambro, again, I liked his strategy. Here he is up in 7th. And he pit at the right time. We're starting to get these longer green runs in. He's got fresher Goodyears than everybody else, and the 42 is under fire from him here right now in turn 4.
Yeah, 42 trying to block him down on the inside, though. Fambro getting a much better run off the corner with some fresher rubber and less damaged truck to help him as well, and is just going to peek to the inside to get alongside Hallman.
Good run into turn 3. Hallman tries to defend. Ryan Swan sees the opportunity. The door is open. He's going to sneak down to the inside of the 42.
I'll say thank you very much and see if he can try to get alongside the 42. I imagine Hallman's going to make it difficult for him as well. Almost some contact, but just gets by the 42.
But the battle's back here. Paul Irvin, his night, again, with the struggles he had early, he's actually rebounding pretty well, up to 13th place now. It's still not going to be good. Okay, well, there's the jinx. Bounced off the 5 of Garrett Grant. They'll keep it straight, but I should just leave him alone, I think.
Yeah, Irvin saying he got loose on the radio and apologized to Grant. We'll see if there's going to be a caution coming up in retaliation for that.
Brad Slaughter beginning to reel in James Shane Wolfe. Last time by was about 2/10 quicker, a 20.3 to Shane Wolfe's 20.6. And how about this? AJ Roderick rebounding after that collision on the inside of the 98 behind the 48 of Curtis Vollmer.
Ooh, so, sorry, the reason I was quiet, I just heard 48, Curtis Vollmer getting a black flag for the incident we saw that didn't bring out a caution. That's what I was trying to listen to, so he's going to have to come down for a penalty, and he is arguing with the officials over the radio?
Not much to argue there, in my opinion. If it was an accident, it was still worth penalizing, I think. It was significant enough that I think it's worth the penalty. So he will come on down pit lane, the 48. It will certainly put him in a bad spot for the rest of the night, provided goes a lap down. Here's the leaders, though. Brad Slaughter Jr. is closing on the 31. It took him a couple laps to get up to speed, but he is coming now.
Let's see if he can hold on. I mean, we didn't really talk about James Shane Wolfe a lot of his issues, or in the point standings, really, being 1 point out from the cutoff. He's doing really well. Gonna definitely give him a leg up going to the next run if he can finish at least anywhere inside the top 3. I think definitely has the pace to do so. He's been up here all night long.
Certainly winning would cure all ills.
Oh, missed the corner.
And I think there's a lot of drivers that put a lot of emphasis on escaping this place with a win. I think Michigan next week is the more predictable of the two racetracks, I think, but it's also a little harder to control your own destiny at a place like Michigan. At least here, you have the ability to knock someone else out of the way. At Michigan, you can just get caught up in one of those big group crashes, and it's game over. I know that can happen here too, but one wreck doesn't end your day. At Michigan, it certainly will.
A bit of a tap on the ball for Shane Wolfe as he's entering the corner.
Yeah, he's struggling a little bit. You can tell he's driving on the edge, and Brad Slaughter Jr. looking a lot more composed at the moment.
If you wanted to see someone driving on edge, you should have seen Slaughter driving at the Roval last week. It was basically a Formula Drift session.
Did everything he can.
I just had the onboard on him. He was just sliding around half the track trying to make up time.
Well, he only finished 5th. It wasn't a bad run. His last win came back at Nashville on June 21st. He also won at Charlotte and Gateway earlier in the season, so he's got some wins to his name. Meanwhile, Shane Wolfe this season, his only win has come all the way back at Daytona, and it's really been hit or miss. He's either been inside the, well, I guess it's silly to say inside the top 10 or out, but the last 3 finishes, a 2nd, a 4th, and a 24th at Talladega. Big slide there for Brad Slaughter Jr. and Danny Ware coming into the picture. So is the 3 of Hearts. They're all kind of condensing back on each other here.
Yeah, the leaders got to a little bit of a breakaway now, as you mentioned, condensing back in. Hartsey looked like he was catching Danny Ware for a little bit. Has lost pace with the the 18 truck. He's starting to reel himself back in. Brad Slaughter just completely missed 1 and 2, and now really starting to fall into the clutches of Ware. Yeah, again,
it seems like it's cyclical right now. Shane Wolfe will gain some ground, then Slaughter gains some ground. But then one or the other will slide backwards a little bit, and Danny Ware creeping up on the rear bumper of the 81, and then 3, who was strong early. The 28, by the way, that truck is going to be done for the night. That is catastrophic to his playoff hopes. It's going to have to be a win next week for him. Look at this battle into turn 1. Garrett Grant and Hunter Collier for 11th place.
These guys going at it here. Grant looks like he's going to win that battle for now, as Collier is still trying to mount some pressure.
Justin Anasogak, by the way, in the 19, putting a little bit of pressure on Ryan Hart. So the top 5 kind of all within about a 2.5 seconds. And the last time by, Anasogak was quicker than everybody in front of him. That time through, he was kind of dead even. The quickest in the top 5 on lap 117 was Brad Slaughter Jr.
Colin Fambro behind Anasogak, really loose in the corner. I think was trying to wool himself up because Anasogak was also a little bit loose and had a checkup. So that could have been dangerous right there. But everyone, pretty much the entire top 7, all nose to tail. Just as it's about to start getting racy here, as we're about to get under 60 laps to go. And also leaders too, approaching lap traffic for the first time.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that works out. Danny Ware in the fence. Hart's smelling blood in the water here as the leaders get into lap traffic. That's the 4 truck up the track. Matt Cochran, by the way, the 48 looks like he's retired the truck. A lot of people scampering around the 4. He's real slow. He's got a ton of damage, but able to keep it out of the way as Brad Slaughter Jr. is close enough to strike. So is Ryan Hart's. Big wiggle out of turn 2, though.
Yeah, it's a thing though, right? Everyone's getting a little bit antsy on the throttle, getting your truck loose. You've seen a lot of guys wrecking sideways loose.
Oh!
Off the corner. That slaughter right there.
Wow. He caught it, but that's a wake-up call. Be a little more cautious on the throttle because you might not catch it next time. Hartz is just all on top of this 18. A little bit slow through 3 and 4. Cautions out, and it's the 98 of Collier.
I'm sure a lot of the leaders, I think, are going to have a sigh of relief seeing that caution come out so they can get fresh tires because they think they're probably going to need them now.
Ooh, just really hot into turn 1. Just got away from him. Loop the truck around, brings out the next caution of the night, and that next caution is caution number 11 as the entire front-running group comes on down, and the 54 truck is going to come with them. So now, I guess this didn't quite work out. The 54 didn't have time to get up to the front of the field on those fresh tires, but he's in position to continue to stay on strategy at this stage. Shane Wolfe, Martin, Brad Slaughter Jr., and more. Jordan Martin actually is going to stay out. He is a lead lap competitor. That is an interesting strategy.
Yeah, definitely an interesting one.
Just because so many of the front runners came this time. It wasn't like before when we saw so much split strategy.
Yeah, and especially because they all have a decent amount of running on their tires. So, I mean, he's going to be pretty off the pace, and I was curious to see if he was maybe just to lead a lap or something. But no, he's going to stay out there. And he's the only one to do so. Everyone else in behind is going to have completely fresh tires. So I don't quite agree with this move, but, I mean, we'll see how it works out for him.
A little awkward moment here at leaving the pits. Watch the 3 and the 18 here. A little bit of a fender rub. Tight quarters on Martinsville pit exit. Paul Irvin stayed out, but comes back down pit lane. I think he was trying to lead a lap, but didn't do it because Jordan Martin was on the racetrack. So Martin is going to commit to staying out. And now we're really going to see what tires are worth. I didn't think they were going to be worth a lot, but this is probably going to be the truest representation we're going to get all night. Jordan Martin last pitted 80 laps ago, and Shane Wolfe and the whole group behind pitted just now.
Yeah, they're going to be worth quite a bit because Shane Wolfe, looking at his last lap times up until that caution, was running 20.7s, 20.8s. Their best lap times were in the 20s, 20 flats, or even in some guys in the 19.8s. So this can get interesting.
58 and 4 truck back on track. And the retirements list is growing. Vollmer next on the list. So the 48, 21, the 64, the 28, the 67, and the 51 are all out of the race. That is 7 of our 23 starters. Jordan Martin will lead us to green. He's going to be on the inside. This is one of those moments when I think the outside will be a strong lane on the restart, just because there won't be a lot of grip to be had on the inside with the tires as old as Jordan's. But the challenge for Shane Wolfe is not to pinch the 11 too far down when he knows he won't have optimal grip.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's exactly what he needs to do, is make sure that he doesn't keep him down too far. And also, you just got to watch and just hope the 11 tries to makes the corner. Because if he's trying to outrace the 31, he might outbrake himself and go flying into him. So it's going to be a big risk for Shane Wolfe, depending on where he is.
Pace truck pulls off, lap 126 of 180. Getting down to the nitty-gritty here. Green flag. Jordan Martin fires off early to try to use that advantage the best he can. Chops the nose of the 31, who's not going to take it. He put a lot of pressure on the 11 into turn 1, but couldn't quite get overlap here, though, out of turn 2. Throttle down.
Daniel trying to get better traction off the corner, couldn't quite get there. The 11 running him down to the apex of the corner, not giving him any room. Shane Wolfe still trying to make something happen. Here comes Brad Slaughter up the inside of Shane Wolfe.
What a drive from Slaughter out of turn 4. And now he will be alongside the 31, can use the 11 as a pick. What a great racecraft move there by the points leader.
How is Martin going to defend this? He's got 2 trucks to worry about now.
Slides up the track. Oh, this is going to be contact. He slides out of the way. The 31 and 81 get by. And bye-bye Jordan Martin into traffic.
Yeah, that's all she wrote for the 11. Who's Slaughter giving just a little bit of a tap to the back of Shane Wolfe.
Back up front, 31 and 81. Vying for the top spot, Ryan Hartz. They've cycled back. They've pushed the 11 all the way back to 7th place by now. The 19 of Sogak gets by to the inside, continues his solid day, back in 6th place right now, and now the 42 of Tyler Hallman working by the 11. This is not a strategy that is playing out for the 11 Silverado.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that he decided to do this strategy because he was running up in around 7th or 8th before that caution came out. So, I mean, he would have been pretty much around where he is right now with fresher tires. The problem is he's probably going to drop even further back. Again, every other driver pretty much came in and pit under that last caution to get fresh tires, so he's going to drop to the field.
Yeah, there was a point when I said stay out all the way, but once we get that long green flag running, it's time to come down for tires, and that seems like the prevailing move that everybody has elected to do. Shane Wolfe again, shortly after the restart, is beginning to build the slightest gap on Brad Slaughter Jr., but this has ebbed and flowed all night long.
An intense battle also going on in the midfield between Fambro, Sogak, and Hallman. Hallman also, haven't really talked a lot of him in the championship picture, but he is in the middle of it. He's currently 6th, 4 points in behind, but having a pretty good day. The problem is also Fambro and Sogak are also having good days, and they're all around that cutoff.
Sogak to the inside of Colin Fambro for 5th. Fambro gave him the line, but Sogak couldn't complete the deal. Whoa, they're going to make contact down the straightaway, and that time he'll get it done. Will the 54 like that, though? That would look like he was coming for retaliation.
Oh, this 19's going to have to look in his mirror because he looks angry, that 54.
Well, he might have to let that one go for now, but that was a frustrating situation, I think. I don't think Sogak meant to get into the back of him there, but kind of hooked him into the fence. Meanwhile, for the lead, look at Shane Wolfe now struggling to drive away. Slaughter has reeled him back in.
The question is, does he have enough to make a move without resorting to physicality?
We're getting to the point where physicality might be on the table. Last 15 minutes of green flag racing. Big dive to the inside of Cochran in the 4.
He gets out of the way. Still got another truck ahead of them. That is Ed Robinson just down the road.
Robinson.
So he's also going to be a factor.
Oh, the leader's going to spin up the racetrack, and the 31 out of the groove. He gets back rolling, but lost control and gives up 1, 2, 3 spots, maybe 4.
Yeah, I think he just either mirror driving or something. Just a lapse in concentration. Just threw it in a little too hard.
Good catch. I thought for sure he would be gone after that one, but that promotes Brad Slaughter Jr. to the lead, and he works by traffic. Ryan Hart's, though, one to watch.
Yeah, Hart's not trying to reel him back in. We haven't seen Hart's be much of a factor since the opening laps, and then he had his contact, his few incidents that dropped him back to the order, and is finally back here.
Mentioned we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of this race and why contact might be on the table. We're closing in very quickly on 40 laps to go, and that goes by very fast here, about 3 laps a minute at Martinsville Speedway. Gordon Martin side by side with AJ Roderick. He drops to 12th. Martin does. Roderick up to 11th.
Yeah, he's continuing to slowly fall down the order with those old tires. I imagine he's probably regretting his strategy decision.
I would say so at this point. Look at the lead that the 81 is establishing. He's been a 10th quicker than Hart's the last couple laps. Tyler Hallman trying to reel in that 54 and do something with him. You see the tire tracks leaving from behind the 54 Tundra.
Ooh, almost gives him a bump.
This is just so close, so nip and tuck right now.
Yeah, and again, all these guys, the 42, the 54, and the 19, all nose to tail in the points as well. So a very intense battle between them. And even you can throw it again, Hartz and Slaughter up in front. They're just trying to extend their points leads and give themselves a bit more of a gap going to the next round.
How about Paul Irvin, by the way? He is inside the top 10. Now, this isn't going to be great points night if things finish as they are because he's so far behind the other playoff competitors, but in terms of finishing positions, he's recovered pretty nicely from those crashes he was involved in earlier.
Oh, he definitely has. It's definitely going to be a decent run, but he doesn't need a decent run, especially when considering all of his other championship competitors are directly ahead of them, save for Beckner. You know,
Shane Wolfe turns around turn 4, spun out, and right in front of the 58 gets back rolling. But a driver that led a whole bunch of laps brings out our 13th caution on the night. Was there a touch here? Ooh, there was. The 19 spins him around, and a Sogak gets into him. Interesting.
Yeah, it looked like they just kind of found each other in the same bit of racetrack. I don't think really any malice out of that move.
I think what happened was
the 19 hit the curb and went up the track, and the 31 came down a little.
I also saw the 19 kind of stomp on the brakes. I think he realized he was going to understeer into the 31, hit the brakes, and then obviously understeered when he hit the brakes. So I think that was a part of it too. I think the curb might have contributed as well. But it brings out our 12th caution. My mistake there. As the 9 will hit pit lane, so will a few others. It's like Irvin, and then the 19 of Anna Sogak will also come down pit road.
Ooh. Anna Sogak getting the band, not the band hammer, but he's getting the gavel swung down on him. Yeah,
that was kind of expected. I mean, he did cause the collision. It was tight quarters down there at turn 3, but you got to race within the bounds. So
and taking advantage of that and gonna get fresh tires at least.
Yep. So this is the restart when Brad Slaughter Jr.'s got to watch his mirrors, because this is when people will start to get rough and rowdy, knowing that they haven't gotten to the lead yet or haven't gotten to the lead in a while. They're going to run out of opportunities and run out of restarts to make passes. I don't think it's going to get incredibly physical yet, but I could expect a bump and run or two in the next 20 or 30 laps.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. We had some decent green flag runs. Get down to the end of it here, just over 30 laps to go, is where guys start to get a little bit rowdy, a little bit rough, especially the guys who need some good points finishes, maybe willing to move people out of the way.
Danny Ware is not a playoff competitor, the only one not running for a championship inside the top 5. Ryan Swan is also not a playoff competitor, neither is Sean Mitchell. So Fambro and Hallman, they're in pretty good spots, but if I'm Shane Wolfe, Irvin, and a Sogak, and obviously Beckner's out of the race, especially Irvin and a Sogak, I'm going to be charging pretty hard. What we've seen, though, is that, you saw the 19 trying to move forward. He ended up causing a collision. It costs him a lot. That's the point of the penalty, is to discourage aggression. So you have to weigh that when you're moving forward here in the final 30 or so laps, that if you make a move that you might later regret, you're going to get yourself a penalty for it. So you have to be very cautious that any move that you make isn't going to put you in harm's way for a penalty or retaliation.
Yeah, I was going to say that too, because drivers will also police you.
And it doesn't take you to crash somebody for them to retaliate. We've already seen just a bump or two, and that's all it'll take to turn the world against you. All right, we should get 1 to green this time through. Indeed we do. So Brad Slaughter Jr., Ryan Hartz, Danny Ware, Fambro, and Hallman, your top 5. I've just also noticed I've been saying indeed a bunch. Thanks, Finian. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I've stolen your thing.
we all have something.
We all have something. We all have our vices.
There's always a safety word.
That's something else.
No, you're not wrong.
What's your safe word, Finny? All right, green flag coming back to the green. Lap 149 of 180. Great launch for the 81. And a little bit of shuffling in the background. The 58 almost had overlap on the 1 into turn 1. Couldn't do it. Here comes Danny Ware and the 3 of Ryan Hartz, and some lap traffic on the inside.
3 wide for just a second, entering turn 3. Still side by side.
Oh, spin! Out. Kind of. I don't know if they got all the way around. Happened around the 58. Ooh, the 31. Ooh.
Ooh, lead.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
that.
That. I mean, I wonder if there was any frustration in that, because when Shane was getting himself righted back in the right direction after the last caution, the 58 came into him as he was getting righted back around. So
I think it's right there. I think that's part. This is part of it too. Is watching from on board the 31 of Shane Wolfe. This is what he sees. He just sees the 58 kind of clearing himself on the nose. And I think the 58 or the 31 just says no thanks.
Bye.
And ended up not really helping himself either.
Well, he's definitely probably not going to help himself a little bit, because I have a feeling he's probably going to get a penalty. Again, which is something he doesn't need, because he's also on the outside looking in. He's 1 point behind the cutoff.
Yeah,
from
not to
top
bring in
4.
dirty laundry from the neighbors either, but Shane Wolfe was one of the drivers involved in some of the dramas last night.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
just to throw that out there, I don't think it really has a whole lot of bearing on tonight, but it's somewhat relevant.
I mean, when you have everyone racing across 3 series, I think, especially all in the same week at the same track, things might get a little heated.
If you get a speeding ticket in Arkansas and then you get pulled over in Iowa, they're still going to consider the Iowa or the Arkansas ticket. They use that as a barometer, I suppose. All right, we're under 30 laps to go, so we'll take this moment again to thank the Elwood Designs Company for sponsoring the Elwood Designs 180 here tonight for the Area CNC Logging Truck Series playoffs. This is round number 3 of 5. And so far tonight, we've had a lot of interesting drama and arguments and pushing and shoving. Classic Martinsville stuff. Working caution number 13. We've had 58 laps of our 152 laps under yellow. 5 leaders, 5 lead changes. Brad Slaughter Jr. is your current race leader. He has led, of the 153, he has led 18 laps. Ryan Hart's right behind him has led 0. Fambro has led 36. Shane Wolfe has led 50. And the 28 who was out has led 43. So I think Shane Wolfe was in position to lead potentially the most laps tonight, but that still can change. What you got?
I love listening to the driver radio because it is spicy. So I'm not gonna say the exact words.
Probably shouldn't.
It wasn't anything vulgar that I can't say on the radio, but basically what happened is Shane Wolfe got a warning, an official warning for intentional wrecking. He's also going to be blamed for that last incident. And if something like that happens again, he's going to get a more severe penalty going forward. And Shane Wolfe had some other gripes with the admins, calling them blind to a lot of the lead changes that have been occurring. Or not lead changes, sorry, the lane changes.
Blind to the lead changes. All right, yes. All right, coming to the green, lap 155 on the restart. We're not done yet. 26 laps to go. And
the caution was extended.
Never mind.
Caution was extended because Shane Wolfe was still a yielding position, so I think the server just extended it itself.
I did the Rick Allen thing. Coming to the green and...
Nope.
Pace truck back out for a quarter-mile stint down the backstretch. And right back into pit lane, I'd assume. Yep.
There it goes.
All right, let's try it again. Brad Slaughter Jr. is your race leader on the inside. Here's your points leader as well, and green flag in the air again.
Hart's not that good of a restart, though. He's going to clam down in front of this 18 of Danny Ware. 42 of Holman trying to make something work on the top line. He's going to get passed though by Fambro on the inside.
The truck's almost getting up into the fence at turn 2. Oh, car gets sent. Roderick again in turn 3. Man, he has just been the recipient of a whole
had
bunch.
some wild wrecks because half the time I just see him come sliding into the frame.
This time it was the 98. Gets in there way hot. That was never going to work.
Yeah, just hip checked him.
Yep. Man, Roderick has just been absolutely...
Another driver that's been the ball.
Yes. Looks like a golf ball. He's got so many dents in him after tonight. And I promise you, these dents are not going to be helpful for the aero around here.
Apparently also Eric Weinland also feels bad for how many times Roderick's been taken out.
Yeah. It's just one of those nights. Again, I don't think you want to be on the giving end of the contacts either. I don't think that's the place you want to be. You just want to be able to avoid it all.
I will say that definitely one person I don't want to be is the admins this week.
Nope.
Because they had a busy night last night. I think they're going to have a not as busy night tonight. Still fairly busy. Tomorrow and on Thursday, who knows what's going to happen?
Well, it's only Tuesday, so I tell you that there is plenty of days left for things to go south. And here's the fun part: we head to Michigan next week, where you can't really do payback. I mean, you can. You end up kind of overdoing it at a track where you're doing 180 miles an hour around the entire thing. I don't think, bump and a bruise here from Martinsville necessarily requires you to send them into the campgrounds, but I might try next week.
You never know. Some drivers can get pretty angry, pretty upset.
At Kenseth intensifies. So working lap 160, we're going to be 20 laps to go next time by, and this is going to be, I think, 2 left to go in the caution sequence. Another race recap here to go over some things. 14 cautions for 64 of our 160 laps, 6 leaders and 7 lead changes at this point. Maximum pain relief up there in the top right. That might be handy for a couple of the drivers. AJ Roderick might need some for his neck. One in the back.
We'll see, though. Race still young. Still got some laps left to go. He could be sent around a 3rd time.
There's still time. You're watching the CNC Log and Truck Series, round 3 of 5 of the playoffs. The drivers in the green are your playoff competitors. Next week at Michigan, we're going to eliminate the bottom 4 in the championship and select our final 4 competitors for our season finale at Las Vegas. All bets are off already on who finishes this one up front. If I'm the 81, I feel like I got a target on my back.
Oh, absolutely. And again, we got to wonder, when is someone going to target his bumper? Because honestly, it's fairly clean. No one's really touched the back of that 81. I feel like that can change in the next 20 laps.
It most likely will. Green flag back in the air. 19 laps to go. And Slaughter clears Hartz again into turn 1. Danny Weir, good restart, gets to the bottom. And the 54 of Colin Fambro licking his lips if he could squeeze down there as well.
Taking the back, the 58 to 31, wrecking on the back straightaway. The caution is back out in the air.
Uh-oh.
And the drama continues.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Keep an eye on 31. He's on a hurry. Is he gonna? Oh,
it's right back in line, but this race went south real fast for the 31.
I told you it was gonna happen.
Yep. Yep, it really did. Well, he was the driver that led the most laps tonight. Now, interestingly, I don't know if anybody else can take it away. 28. What's 28 plus 17? I don't think that's quite the 50 that the 31 has led, right? No, not quite.
Ooh, and the 58 parked for the rest of the night.
Yeah, he's had a tough night. Been at the pointy end of a couple of those incidents. So going back, Brad Slaughter cannot mathematically lead the most laps unless we get overtime, which is possible. The other car that could is Colin Fambro, but that window of opportunity is closing very quickly. So regardless of Shane Wolfe's poor tail end of the race, he should walk out of here with the most laps led, I believe.
We'll see. Has anyone got a chance to
Travis Beckner, but he's 75 laps down, so that's not going to happen.
I didn't realize he just got into the track. I think he actually just rejoined the track. I didn't realize he's back out here.
Yeah, he can't pass anybody, so that's an interesting decision.
Oh, and Matt Cochran, he's been limping around here the entire night. Engine finally went.
Oh. That was
so close to the end.
Definitely a "don't take me out, coach, I can still race" moment, so he will pull that thing down and let it rest.
I mean, to be fair, he's been putting around. He came in at 14th. He's running in 14th, so that's actually not too bad.
Well, think of all the positions that he gained by doing that, so never give up. Unless you really get crashed, then give up and focus on next.
Yeah, I was going to say the engine gave up on him, unfortunately.
Man, I can't wait for electric racing when someone's sponsored by Energizer. And then there's like electric mileage races. And there's all the jokes about it, and it keeps going and going and going and going. I'm stupid like that. I think that'd be hilarious.
Actually, when was the last time Energizer sponsored anyone? It's been a while, hasn't it?
Been a while. I think it was probably Larson or Juan Pablo Montoya in the 42.
Oh, yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, I remember. I love those ads. They don't make a lot of ads.
Did you know that the Energizer Bunny in the ads is actually a real thing? It wasn't CGI, at least not in its early years. It was a real mechanical. You were there for this, right? When Grant Imahara came to Binghamton.
Yes,
yeah. Grant Imahara from the Mythbusters was one of the people that worked on the Energizer Bunny project, and that's information that nobody ever wanted to know, but now they know. So
now you guys know it all.
All right, 13 to go this time through. Last couple laps here from Martinsville. The 81.
Start from the outside.
Took the outside lane. Really interesting choice, and it worked out for him so far. He clears Danny Ware, and Fambro on the outside now.
Yeah, I think probably can see everyone else try that. Ooh, Ware trying to clear. Fambro almost turns himself under the wall.
Swervin Irvin up to 7th place. That yellow car is coming forward. Everybody scrambling for spots behind the 81. 54 gets in the line, a little bit of shuffling behind. '81 leads out of turn 4 now, 11 laps to go. Danny Ware, Fambro, Hart, Swan, and then Swervin Irvin up into 7th place. And he's going for Hallman next. He might be able to go jump another spot here.
Yeah, he's been really trying to make that outside lane work to at least move some sort of spots up. He's been mildly successful. He's just trying to get clear of the 11 who's been trying to pass him since the restart. I think Irvin might get a decent run here, but Martin's still on that inside.
10 laps to go, and Brad Slaughter Jr. came into the night leading the points. He got wrecked early. He has rebounded very, very nicely. And now he has a non-playoff competitor on his bumper. That is an ideal scenario, I'd say, as long as that gap stays over half a second.
Go in behind Anasogak on the outside of Irvin. Irvin will try to go to the inside to get past 11, open the way up for the 19 to try to work on through. And the 31 going to punt Irvin a little bit. Oh, Anasogak almost gets turned off the nose.
Everybody scatters. They keep it straight. And the 31.
All three of them championship competitors as well.
Side by side down the front straightaway. 8 laps to go, and the 31 hits the 9 truck again.
Oh.
Great save by Irvin there.
We'll say a little bit of net code on that second contact.
Yeah, Irvin's going to lose another spot here to Bobby Tinch. He was having a good run, but it's going all wrong here in the late stages. 7 laps to go, getting very close to the point where if we get a caution, we'll be going overtime. We get one attempt here.
See, gotten separated. First time we got separated in quite a while due to a large string of cautions. Lou Martin, though, died to the inside of the 42 of Hallman in behind.
Got overlap. Can he sustain it down the straightaway? Hallman's got to leave him space. Martin just has enough overlap. But now Hallman re-clears himself out of turn 4.
Right, here comes Anasogak. A great run off the corner of turn 4 to the inside in turn 1.
These two have traded spots after the restart. And Sogak's got the preferred line this time, but he can't get the throttle down quick enough, and Martin will hang on to 7th. Five laps to go. Make it 4. Brad Slaughter Jr. leads the way by 0.6 of a second. And if it stays green, he's going to be home free, but you just can't count on that with this few laps to go.
No, you really can't, especially with the way the rest of this night's gone. I think he can't wait to see the white flag and then obviously the checker right after. But he doesn't know there could still be a last-minute restart here in these closing laps.
3 laps to go. Becoming more and more real for the 81 every moment. The 31, big slide into turn 1. Trying to get a hold of A.J. Roderick's 9th place. Now 2 laps to go this time by. Half a mile until Brad Slaughter Jr. will see the white flag here at Martinsville.
Open and praying nothing, no shenanigans go on in behind him.
Coming back around to the last lap. Brad Slaughter Jr., the points leader, comes into the night, falls backward, but now he will take the Elwood Designs white flag. One more time around here at Martinsville. It's guaranteed a green flag finish. The 19 and the 11 still battle for 7th place behind Hallman. The 81, though, will add to his win total here at Martinsville Speedway tonight. He will go into the final round of the championship. He will be one of your final four. Brad Slaughter Jr. wins at Martinsville.
Doing that battle across the line close. Anasoga just going to get Martin as they cross the line for 7th place.
Great run there by the 19, but not in the top 4 of the playoff competitors. Brad Slaughter Jr., what a drive by him tonight. He had an up and down evening, had a bunch of damage, but over the course of the night repaired some of it and managed to get out front and walk away with the win. Danny Ware, Colin Fambro, Ryan Hartz, Ryan Swan, the rest of your top 5. Survival. And coming out the other side and rebounding. That's what it took for Brad Slaughter Jr. Again, walked into the night with what I would consider a reasonable lead, 21 points over Ryan Hartz. And he had 3 wins coming into the night. He will walk out with 4.
Previous really solid effort.
Yeah, previous wins came at Nashville, Gateway, and Charlotte.
Yep, there goes the engine.
And the engine's done on that truck, so that will be all he's got in terms of a burnout tonight. Here's a look at your race results tonight from Martinsville. There's your playoff competitors. 6 of the top 10 playoff colored. And then you have to look to Paul Irvin in 11th in the 9 truck, and the 28 of Travis Beckner. That was disappointing for those two. They will be your final 2 runners. Paul Irvin was turning things around in a late race, but didn't quite finish out that way.
No, it didn't, and he really needed a better run, especially considering, again, the rest of the drivers, save for Beckner, ran really well in comparison. So he had a decent night, needed a really good night, unfortunately. And you see the rest of the finishing order, as well as, again, Beckner, really the biggest note is after running so well, remember, leading the majority of the early part of the race, going to be back down in 20th after problems, just kind of accruing on themselves throughout the night. Resulting in a blown engine and Cameron Hearn also finishing back in 21st.
Yeah, here's another look at the drivers that finished at the tail end of the field. Logan Hartman, Sean Mitchell, and of course Jacob Bell didn't take the green. But that was your finishers here tonight. But again, let's document also Colin Fambro, who we should talk to here in a little while. Fambro with that strategy I thought would be the successful one. With one more restart and a push, it could have been, but he didn't have the track position when it counted most. Ryan Hart's a solid night. That's a good points effort for him in the number 3. He was second coming in, so he'll walk away with a pretty good points value. Ryan Swan, 5th place. Tyler Hallman, not a bad night either. He'll pick up some points.
Yeah, I think you're fired as Fambro's crew chief, though. He didn't get on the win. He's going to have to find a new crew chief.
Yeah. Well, let's talk to a couple of our top 3 runners. We've got Danny Ware standing by, driver of the number 18 truck, comes home in second tonight. Danny, really solid night for you. It was pretty aggressive and rowdy in the mid-pack to the back of the pack, but you and the number 18 truck outlasted. Needed something else to go catch that 81. What'd you need? More time, more restarts, or something else?
Probably just better skill, to be honest. Brad's really good. Me and him race together all the time, and he's taught me a lot, so basically racing against a teacher there, and couldn't really catch him.
Well, looking back on the night, there were so many drivers that had dramas of some kind, whether it was pushing or shoving or spinning or crashing. How hard is it to keep a cool head around here when you're getting run into or running into people? It seems very easy for everything to kind of go sideways when everyone's leaning on you.
Yeah, it's just, you're constantly looking in your mirror and just waiting for someone to hit you, but for the most part up front, I feel like we were racing pretty clean. We were just kind of biding our time, but it's just chaotic. You just basically got to focus on what everybody else is doing, but also try to race your line at the same time. But I don't know, they all raced me clean, so it was pretty good overall.
Well, you're not in the playoffs, not going for a championship, but still a very solid night, Danny. Congratulations. We'll see you at Michigan next week. Good luck to you there.
Thank you.
Moving on now to our 3rd place competitor, Colin Fambro, the number 54. Colin, I was on Team Fambro tonight, the number 54. I thought your pit strategy was the perfect one. Stay out front until you got a green flag run, then come down and get tires. You finished 3rd, though. Maybe a couple more restarts, you would have had those 2 leaders?
I don't know, man. It was so tough to pass. I mean, this thing was, I don't know if it was just the rubber getting laid down, but the drive off got worse and worse and worse throughout the race. And I kept getting tighter and tighter in the center of the corner, and I kept, cranking my brake bias, and I couldn't get the rotation to get it straight enough to get a drive off. So I don't know, man. I think you had to almost have a tire advantage there to really get a pass done, but P3 is pretty solid, but yeah, I mean, I did too. I thought I'd be able to work my way back up through there a little bit quicker, but tires just didn't mean a whole lot tonight.
I think that was partly my prediction. I think we were surprised to see Jordan Martin stay out at one point, and he dropped like a rock, so it seemed like it was kind of dependent on when you came and got him. But Colin, a great points night for you, and looking ahead to Michigan next week and that cutoff line for the final round of the playoffs. How confident do you feel that you're going to go forward and have a shot to win the championship?
Yeah, I like Michigan. It's a great track, but in these trucks, it's you run really close to each other, so anything can happen. But hopefully we'll go there next week, and everybody will mind their P's and Q's after this week, and we can get up there and compete for a win, if not a podium, and move on to the championship four.
Well, solid night, Colin. Congratulations. We'll see you at Michigan next week. Best of luck.
Thanks, Kyle.
Moving on now to Brad Slaughter, your race winner for the fourth time this season. Brad Slaughter Jr. and the number 81 Tundra go to victory lane, Brad. Tonight it didn't start out so great. You kind of ended up turned around backwards and going the wrong direction, but you drove forward, made some good pit strategy calls, and ended up in the lead, and thankfully didn't have to defend on a late race restart too late in the race. Managed to drive away by 0.8 of a second. First of all, congratulations, and you came in with the points lead already, so I think you had some confidence, but you got to feel on top of the moon right now. You're going to be competing for a championship in 2 weeks' time.
Absolutely, 100%, man. That was not how I drew up the script going into tonight. I did not. The driver was not as good as the Roderick Racing Development Elwood Designs Tundra in the first half of the race. The driver was terrible. I got to apologize again to Eric Weinland. I absolutely cleaned him out there in 3. Just locked it up. Had a little bit too much rear brake in it and cleaned him out. Feel terrible about that, but I tried to clean it up a little bit there in the second half, and like I said, make the right pit calls and get some track position. Track position was pretty key tonight, and after we could do that, man, it seemed like a little bit of an easier race. I know some of the faster guys got damaged tonight, got caught up in some stuff, so that obviously helped us out. But a great result. I really wanted to go into Michigan next week, locked in to go have some fun and let it rip. So. We did that tonight. We're locked in and ready to go fight for a championship.
Well, it's obviously going to put you in a great spot for the final race. That's at Las Vegas in 2 weeks. Looking at the other wins this season, this is your first time really getting one on a short track. So as you look forward to Las Vegas, you got to feel pretty confident that you can get it done in the 1.5 mile track there.
Absolutely. That's kind of my bread and butter. That's what I love, the 1.5 mile racetracks. That's where I feel like I'm best at. The short tracks, they're not my best. Any track with heavy braking, normally I don't do very well at. I feel like I just kind of hit my rhythm there at the end of the race and just kind of settled down and wasn't really pushing the truck too hard. But yeah, I was just as surprised as anybody else that I was able to pull this off.
Well, we weren't surprised. Brad was leading the championship, but didn't surprise us. Congratulations. We'll see you at Michigan next week. Have some fun out there.
Thank you, guys. Thank you to everybody that tuned in. Appreciate y'all. Do a great job up here in the booth.
Thanks, Brad. We'll see you next week.
See you.
All right, Finney, that wraps things up for tonight. Got wild at some points, but debrief on Martinsville. We head into Michigan next week. Another cutoff race for the CNC Logging Truck Series playoffs. That'll be a fun one.
Indeed, well, I'm looking forward to seeing how this playoff picture plays out, especially because Beckner, he's going to be in a pretty much a must-win situation. We saw Paul Orban. I think he's going to probably fall out of the top 4, and I think you could probably move Shane Wolfe in, but it's all going to be fairly close for I think that last spot. I think Fambro, Hartz, and Slaughter are going to be fairly good looking into the next round. That last spot though is quite a few guys. Think about at least 3 or 4 that have a solid shot at getting that final spot, and they're all going to be duking out for their last chance next week.
We'll see you there next week for the CNC Logging Truck Series playoffs. Thanks so much for watching. See you on Thursday for the Lodgebox Series. Another round at Martinsville. We'll see you on Thursday, twitch.tv/area iRacing.